Black Friday isn't about who spends the most money on ads. It's actually about who can capture the customer when they are searching for your products. Now, if you're gearing up for Black Friday or Q4 and you're about to spend heaps of money on ads, first of all, it's going to get expensive. We know that. But second of all, most customers don't buy the first time they see your ad. They actually search for your products in Google afterwards. And if you're not showing up in Google when that happens, you've just paid heaps of money for this ad and handed that sale to your competitor. So in this video, I wanted to show you how SEO incorporates into Black Friday and how two big brands are making the mistake of not capturing their audience in Google, and then show you how you can make sure this doesn't happen to your brand this Q4. So if you're new here, my name is Zach. I run ZB SEO. We are a Shopify SEO studio where we help e-commerce brands scale their organic search revenue. And in this video, as I said, I wanted to talk about Black Friday and how SEO incorporates into Black Friday. There's a lot of talk about Black Friday coming up soon, and people are talking about gearing up their ads and their ad spend, but no one really talks about SEO and how that gets incorporated into Black Friday and also Q4. So I wanted to talk about that in this video. And so the first example I'm going to show you, the two brands here that I found. So HOKA, we obviously all know HOKA, or HOKA, however you say it, that they sell amazing running shoes. And then I found this one here called Lounge Lovers, and they're running an ad or ads at the moment, trying to sell bedside tables and different things like that. So let's look at this example here from HOKA. So maybe you see this in your feed on Facebook or on Instagram. It captures your attention, you're interested, you're looking for some new running shoes, but you don't click on the ad and you don't really think about it. You just kind of keep scrolling, you keep going on with your day. However, that's in the back of your mind. Maybe you see the ad a couple more times. Again, you don't necessarily click on it, but you keep seeing it. It's front of mind. And so then the time comes that you're actually like, okay, actually I do need some running shoes. There's sales on right now. It's Black Friday. I'm going to search for running shoes. Now, if you search for running shoes, well, I'm going to show you in the next example, HOKA doesn't actually show up. And so you've just paid heaps of money to show in front of that customer many, many times, but then you're not showing up because they've searched for it later. The same example here with Lounge Lovers. They're running all these ads for their bedside tables, for their couches and all that kind of stuff. And then if someone later on searches for bedside table, Lounge Lovers are nowhere to be seen. So if I show you here, this is when we search for running shoes in Google. You can see we've got Runner's World, Athlete's Foot, New Balance, Running Warehouse, Run Repeat, Asics, Nike, The Running Company, Brooks Running. HOKA is nowhere to be found. And HOKA is arguably one of the biggest running companies, running shoe companies in the world at the moment. And so the fact that they aren't showing up in Google when you search for running shoes, well, you're missing out on potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales because you're not there. And the same for Lounge Lovers and bedside table. If we search for bedside table, we see we've got IKEA, Interior Secrets, Kmart, Nick Scali, Fantastic Furniture, King Living, Empire Home Shop, Mocha. Now, albeit these are quite competitive keywords, so I'm choosing some pretty broad examples here, but the principle remains the same. If you are spending all this money on your ads to show up in front of customers, yes, you're definitely going to get some sales from these ads directly. That's great, but you're missing out on all the supplementary sales because you're not showing up organically. And so SEO is all about showing up here and capturing all those customers at all stages of their buyer's journey. And arguably, here is where you make the most return because, first of all, you're not paying per click, you're not paying per impression like you are when it comes to meta ads. And when you get here, people are looking to buy, they're searching for this product. When you show up for these ads here, this is interruption based. You're just showing up in their feed when they're not necessarily shopping, they're not necessarily thinking about it. Whereas here in Google search, this is where people are searching, this is where people are buying, and this is where you can make the biggest returns. So hopefully you have a bit of an understanding as to how it kind of incorporates, but now let's actually show you why that's happening. Why aren't these brands showing up? Especially someone like HOKA, who is arguably one of the biggest running companies in the world. If we go to their page, this is their page here, that ad that I showed you before directly ends up on. So we can see here, they've got race running at the top. They've got a bit of content here, which is kind of hidden underneath. So again, does that really do much? Probably not much because it's hidden and customer doesn't see it. They've got their product grid, and then if we scroll all the way down, that's kind of it. There's just a product grid. There's not much more to it. Now, I've had a look at HOKA before. I'll leave a video up here. I've actually done a little SEO audit on them. The SEO is not great. They don't do much SEO. They don't have any internal linking from their homepage. They're not really sharing much link equity at all. And as we can see here, there's not much content on this page. So if you have a look at Athlete's Foot, who was second, I believe, Now, the first one was a blog, I think, like that. So this is the second page. If we have a look, they've pretty much got the same thing, but what they do have is this little bit of text down the bottom. Now, albeit this is quite small, but Athlete's Foot is a big brand. They've got big DR. HOKA could do the same. They could add a little bit of text here. This gives, first of all, some link equity through these internal links, but it gives a little bit more information that these are best run-in shoes. It's hinting to Google that this page is about run-in shoes. So that's something that HOKA is missing out on. That's something that you need to do with your collection pages to make sure that they show in Google. Now, if we have a look at the other example here from Bedside Tables, we can see the same thing. They've got their heading. At least they've got some text at the top, which is good, and they've incorporated their keyword Bedside Tables. But again, if we scroll down, there's not much more to the page. They've just left it as a product grid. This leaves very little for Google to understand about this page, and so it's not going to show it in the search results. And then again, if we have a look at Temple and Webster, this was again first or second, I think, for Bedside Tables. And we can see it looks pretty much the same, but the main thing that these guys do really well is if we scroll right down to the bottom, we can see they've got all this SEO text down here with internal links and keywords and different headings and stuff. All of this is what makes Google understand this page much better. And so obviously there's much more to it. There's your link equity, your link authority, and all that kind of stuff. But this is helping this page show up in the search results because you've given Google way more context about Bedside Tables and why choose these bedside tables and so forth. Small to large, a bedside table for every need. It's giving more information to Google about that page, so it's showing up in those higher results. So if you've watched any of my other videos, I've barked on about this so much because it is really one of the biggest levers that you can do with your e-commerce brand's SEO. And so this is my little SEO checklist, call it. Now, I don't like using the word checklist because SEO isn't a checklist. However, making sure that you kind of tick off all these things on your collection page just gives you that little bit of edge over all your competitors. So making sure we've got optimized meta title and descriptions, your target keyword in the URL, but mainly is what we're doing here. Your H1 has your target keyword in it. You have a little bit of text at the top of the page with your target keyword in it. And more importantly, you've got more content at the bottom below the product grid, including FAQs, including internal links. And this really helps Google understand what this page is about. And that's how we manage to get results like these. And that's how other brands manage to get amazing results, because we're optimizing their collection pages. We're optimizing their entire store to give more context to Google so it understands what the page and what the website is about. And therefore it shows it to more customers. And that's how we're managing to get these kind of results for our clients. So if you're gearing up for Q4 and you're starting to think about spending even more money on ads, just remember that every time you spend money on ads, there is a good percentage of people that aren't going to click on them. And what they're going to do is they're going to head over to Google and they're going to search for your type of product. They may not necessarily search for your brand because maybe they don't know you, but they're going to search for your product because your ad did resonate with them. And so if you're not showing up in the organic search results, you are missing out on potentially tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in search revenue, organic search revenue, that you're not paying for every click, you're not paying for every impression, and you're getting the highest ROI that you can when it comes to e-commerce because you're showing up organically. And so if you follow this kind of checklist that I've got here, I'll link a video here that you can look at to optimize your collection pages on your e-commerce store. If you do that, you've got a much higher chance of capturing this traffic. And also, if you need someone to do it for you, click the first link in the description. You can book a call with me, we can have a chat, and I can lead you in the right direction, or we can talk about working together. So hopefully you found this video interesting. As I said, first link in the description, you can book a call. If not, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.